Let's see if anybody shows up to join me in, I guess, what you call the typhoon aftermath here in Dumaguete, Philippines. So I'll give a few minutes. I don't know, the signal might be wonky on me, so we'll see if it comes in and out. See how we do. See if anybody shows up. Yeah, if anybody pops, I'm just walking about the boulevard in Dumaguete and what I guess you could say the typhoon aftermath. I would say things weren't too bad here in Dumaguete. It's basically been no winds whatsoever. Very calm, a couple drip drops, still some clouds, but as you can see, not too bad at all. And I see somebody, Bang Arabelle. Bang Arabelle says hello. Hello, Bang Arabelle. My name's Michael. I'm an American living here in the Philippines, and I'm live from Dumaguete, Philippines, Negros Oriental. Just doing a little stroll, showing everybody what's going on here in Dumaguete. I know, well, I've seen a lot of video footage of people up in Cebu, and prayers go out to them. Seems like a lot of people in the northern part of the Philippines are dealing with much worse typhoon, almost like hurricane-like weather to an extent. Lots of flooding, but here in Dumaguete, it's actually, I don't think we really got too much. We got some rain. I think there was like minor flooding, but not bad enough to keep you inside. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to update everybody just to compare, depending on where you're at in the Philippines. Hello, sir. Thanks for being here. Just keep me updated on the signal. Now, the crazy thing today is obviously I use my data when I'm live streaming out in public, and I finally just got my data working. I mean, my data wasn't even working at all just because, obviously because of the weather. So I'm actually my data is now active, my smart card, so I can actually talk and share what's going on here in Dumaguete, Philippines. As I previously mentioned, compared to what a lot of other people are dealing with in the Philippines with the typhoon, I would say Dumaguete's situation is much more milder and more calm. There's no winds whatsoever. Right now it's drizzling rain, but there's no wind at all. And it's bad for hours. It's actually a lot better here than I anticipated. I mean, I guess it's better to always anticipate and expect the worst, but so yeah, Sula, thanks for coming here. No, I'm not with Che right now. She was with me earlier. I'm not sure where she's at. She might be back at the hotel, or I don't know. I was just walking around in this weather, and I like to exercise, obviously, and it's just been like a light drizzle off and on. But as you can see, there was actually a break in the clouds a couple hours ago where I saw blue skies. So I would say definitely the worst has already come and gone for Dumaguete. But then again, I could be wrong. But compared to my friends Gary and Leah up in Bacolod, I mean, what I've seen video footage, I mean, they have serious winds, rain, keeping their children away from the windows because of the something breaking, smashing through the windows. But yeah, it's Uh, we're very fortunate and blessed to not really have dealt with much here in Dumaguete. There's more places open than I thought would be open. I thought a lot more places might be closed. But I mean, there's places closed due to the weather or anticipation of it, but there's a lot more places open. I actually had to get my coffee at Starbucks, my go-to place, But First Coffee. They were closed today, but it's not bad at all. Let me see here. But I appreciate anybody here just sharing me walking around in Dumaguete. And like I said, the ocean's not even rough. It's really calm here, believe it or not. But hey, give a thumbs up to my live stream if you like it. And if you're not a subscriber, as always, I'm open to any subscribers too. Let me see what I got here. Basula, thanks for being here. Che is good. I'm not sure where she is exactly right now. I just, like I said, my data kind of just started working on my phone. Vinod says, I am coming working. Vinod. Where are you working, Vinod? Where are you at? Sula says, thank God you're okay. Yeah, we're all good. I appreciate the concern, Sula. Sula says, you look so healthy. Walking must be secret to youth. I'd say any type of exercise helps. I definitely think walking, well, I'm not walking that fast now, but I'd say walking at a good pace, getting that heart going, and some high intensity kind of movement. Yeah, I think it's very healthy. Eating healthy is a big part of it too. And obviously, as I've shared to you before, Sula, or anybody that knows me, I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm sure that helps too. But then again, I know people that, I don't know about drinking, but I know people that smoke that you would never guess that they did. So I'm sure there's the exception where some people just have that blessing and that gift that they can overcome anything that's maybe not necessarily the best thing for you. Hey, Fox Finding Life, how you doing? I guess my signal must be all right. Surprisingly, again, my data was not even active until like now. Like before, like I saw the 5G like popped up on my phone, and I'm like, you're kidding me. I actually have my data, smart data is active, and I'm assuming there's towers and maybe I don't know what would cause them not to work here. I'm not sure, but it's on now, so thank goodness. So Sula says, yes, your signal is good for the most part. Well, that's good. I'm trying not to walk too far. I'm trying to like kind of just stay in the spot that I know works well and keeps the signal strong. But I'm thankful for anybody here. It's just hanging out with me. But again, Dumaguete compared to a lot of other places, I think the worst is up north. Where I used to live in Bacolod, they're getting hit very hard. So I'm kind of blessed and thankful that I came back to Dumaguete, because I would be dealing with that if I was there right now. Haven't really had any earthquake issues, knock on wood, since I've been here, other than a couple nights ago. I guess there was a 5.0 magnitude earthquake. I don't know if the epicenter was like in Dumaguete, but it was enough to wake us up at couple minutes after 3 a.m. the other night, and the bed just started shaking. But that was like the only one since I've been here in Dumaguete. Bacolod, I felt like we were having an earthquake every 2 weeks. And after that big one hit Cebu, and then you had aftershocks, any other earthquake after that, it was kind of like you really, really anticipated an earthquake happening. And it was kind of like, I don't know, you kind of felt a little uneasy. Nobody likes to have to anticipate, like, when's the next earthquake gonna come. It's definitely something I'm not really used to. But I'm doing good, Fox Finding Life. Thanks for being here, appreciate it. Fox Finding Life says the trick with signal data is just don't go moving around too quick or it goes all grainy. Appreciate the information. that actually makes total sense. Um, I always kind of just think staying in one place is probably the best, but I want you guys to be able to see stuff. There's more interesting things than me to look at, but I mean, definitely like Sikihor is right behind that way and you can't see anything, but I did see the island earlier. Again, it's just, I wouldn't say it's drizzling. I'd say it's like light rain now. This has probably been the heaviest the rain's been since I've been out here for the last few hours. But I appreciate that. And so how's everybody doing? You know, I was on, obviously I was watching Karen and James earlier from the hotel on the Wi-Fi. I didn't lose you guys. That was an emergency. I need to remember to turn that off when I do live streams. I get an emergency. Well, it was an emergency notification of weather. That's what happened. I didn't get a call, but I need to remember to turn all notifications off, especially like incoming calls or that. I don't know if I want to turn the emergency thing off, but so yeah, I'm out here being a storm chaser. But like I said, it's not, like I said, it's rain, but it feels good. I guess when it's warm, doesn't matter. And I can only be cooped up in an apartment or in a hotel for so long. I got to get out. Like I can't. So am I still there, Sula? Is everything still good? I'm coming in clear. Like you guys can still hear me. Hopefully that emergency broadcast that kind of cut in. All right, so I must be all right. Sula says, that's good. They do a weather warning. I experienced a few tornadoes in the USA. It was exciting, but scary. And now you're saying, yes, perfect and clear. All right, good. But yeah, now it's raining a little more. So hopefully I don't get too much water on my phone, but they're supposed to be like, I guess, weatherproof to an extent. I mean, I've seen people throw their iPhones into the water and they survive. So yeah, I don't have an umbrella. See, they're walking by with an umbrella. Foreigner with a Filipina. But yeah, now it's starting to come down. But I had my mics earlier. I was going to use them. I was going to make like a video, but I never got around to it. So I was like, well, I better go live. Fox Finding Life says, if you're trying to serious YouTube, you should buy a second phone and use that. Yeah, I'll just buy a new one and then this would be, yeah, secondary one, like you said. That would be a good idea. I'll eventually get serious, Fox. I'm still a rookie, newbie, in the early stages. I guess I wanted to see things where things could potentially go with the whole YouTube. Before I, invested more. But I do have the mics. I guess you guys hear me good enough. It's really, I'm going to go over this way. Hopefully my signal doesn't die. I'm going to try and walk slowly. I just want to try and take a little bit of cover. I guess if I'm going to be a serious YouTuber, I probably should invest in an umbrella. I usually like to think I'm kind of tough without an umbrella. Sue says, your necklace is nice. What is on it, Michael? Actually, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's Saint Michael the Archangel. That's what's on my necklace. Saint Michael the Archangel. And long story short, my mother named me Michael after Saint Michael the Archangel. So yeah, she's been telling me that since I was very, very little. And I guess I just always had an attachment to Saint Michael. So now I'm going to try and walk slowly, but go under this little roof covering thing. And see if I can get a little dry, which I think I am, a little bit. But But like I said, always just let me know if the signal goes to crap. Finding Fox says you have a channel, Sula. Is it warm even though it's rain? Yeah, it's warm. I guess 78 degrees. I don't know what Celsius, which I know I need to learn that, but Sula does not. Yeah, at Fox, I don't have anything on it. Do you, Fox? David Jessup is here. Hello, David. Hi, Mike. I got out of the hospital today. I'm on a long drive home to Northern California. That is awesome, David. I'm so happy for you. Thoughts and prayers every day to David. And he's coming to the Philippines soon. And David, I guess when you get to California, then that's where you're going to be leaving. You're going to take your flight from California to the Philippines. I'm going to come around this way slowly. Let me see. Sula says, I thought it was a saint, but I didn't want to be presumptuous. That's all right. That's perfectly fine. Just trying to, I don't know, maybe I can go over under this tree. David says, oh, wait a minute. Sula says, that's lovely. David says, hi, Fox. Fox Finding Life says, yes, I have 2K. I'm moving to Philippines next year. Currently learning to YouTube while I sell everything I own. And there's nothing wrong. Hey, I've been there, done that. Honestly, it wasn't hard for me to let go of my stuff. It was hard for me to sell stuff. But then I decided, you know what, Fox, all that materialistic, I just call it junk. Some stuff had monetary value, but all that materialistic stuff that I consumed or collected over the years in my house, I learned so much after I got rid of my house and I got rid of all that stuff, how non-important any of that stuff is. And I was actually embarrassed of myself when I'd be like, Michael, what in the world are you doing collecting all that crap? So good for you. Fox, I'm still learning YouTube too, and I'm always open to anybody's advice. I practically gave everything away that I owned, which was okay. I mean, I sold some things, but I basically sold it well less than what it was worth. A lot of very nice furniture, but I was okay with that. You know what? I got years and years of use out of it. I just take care of my stuff. So that's why it was so nice. So the personal value to me was a lot higher because I took care of it. But then anything I couldn't sell, I donated it all to the Salvation Army. They sent a big truck and for free, and guys came, and now the stuff had to be in decent shape, the furniture. They took all the furniture, and then I donated so many clothes. Obviously, in Pennsylvania, US, you have to have 4 seasons worth of clothes. So much clothes, dude. T-shirts and shorts forever. My most expensive thing that I buy are probably my walking shoes, because the comfort of my feet are important, because I do a lot of walking and I go through a lot. Fox says, hello, David. Tolentino Varga. Hola, como estás? That's Spanish, I know that. Tolentino Varga says, "De donde SOS?" I don't know a lot of Spanish, but Tolentino, thank you for being here. Tolentino says, "Trabajas o estudias de que pasa SOS?" Tolentino, I don't know what country where you live, but I'm an American living in the Philippines right now. I'm in Dumaguete. Sula says, I subscribe to Fox. That's amazing. You're moving to the Philippines too. All the good men are leaving America. The women are losing the best of men. Mind-boggling. Yeah, I just think, I mean, I would never tell people to solely come to the Philippines just to meet a Filipina. Like, I would never tell them, don't let that be your priority for coming to the Philippines. I would want you to come to the Philippines because you're looking to learn about a new country, a new culture, definitely the Philippines, you better be interested in warm weather. I guess you could sit in aircon all the time, but I wouldn't recommend that. Kind of what's the point of doing that? That would be like me. I can't stand winter anymore, and I always say this. That'd be like me moving to the coldest place in the world, and then just staying in a heated apartment all the time. It's like, why did I move here if I don't like the cold? But it is hotter here. It's more humid. You're obviously closer to the equator, but when you're out in it, you adapt. Your body adjusts and adapts. Now, I'm sure everybody adapts at different points, you know. I adapted fairly quickly. Why? I don't know. I just did, and even if it felt hot, as long as I was hydrated, drinking water, and I don't know, I'm just so excited and have so much energy when I'm here, you know, wake up every morning. Obviously the rain stinks, but I'm talking like sunny days. When you wake up here in the Philippines and you're just ready to go, man. Like, I'm just ready to enjoy life, and I'm just like so excited and fired up. It takes a lot to bring me down, like to ruin my day, and actually I haven't really experienced that here. And that's why I love being here. I'm always happy. Never a dull moment. But yeah, I understand what you're saying, Sula. Hey, you know, that's the way it goes. You can make, you know, my advice to any foreign man coming here, yeah, I would be shocked if, like, it would be mind-boggling if I met a foreigner here and he just said, I just can't meet a woman, I can't meet a Filipina. I would be shocked. I just would be. You'd have to be doing something seriously wrong. David says, on November 19th, out of Burbank. Amen to that. I'm so excited for you, David. And hey, David, by the way, just so you know, I did this just for you. You know how you said set up like a whatever you can join so you can make your name green because you like your name being green? Well, I did that for you. I set it up. Actually, Ray helped me do it the other day because I was never going to have people join like as a member, but I did that because I know you like to be green, and you never know, maybe people will want to join. We'll see. But I want to get, like I said, I'm so ready to get into producing more content. I'm so ready to go to Sikihor. I'm so ready for rain season to be over as well. But again, since I've been back in Dumaguete from Bacolod, other than now, because of this typhoon from the hurricane, it has only rained once since I've been here. And I've been told by people, they say it does rain more often in Bacolod, so there might be some truth to that. Sula says, material stuff just holds us down. Yeah, you're right. You're right, and it distracts us, in my opinion. I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm just speaking for me. Materialistic things, what did it do to me? It distracted me. It was temporary happiness. I mean, you know, from buying a car to buying a new shirt to buying whatever, what does it give you? Temporary happiness, and then it's gone. Well, guess what you can't buy? You can't buy, I guess, consistent happiness. You can't buy it. But here in the Philippines, it could be a combination of, hey, I'm just in a new country, that excites me. There's no distractions. I'm not looking to buy anything. I'm looking to meet people, which is the number one thing that I love about the Philippines, is meeting people. So meeting people, I love walking everywhere. That way you can, like, you truly embrace the culture of the Philippines. You see things for real, you know, in person. I've been exposed to so much. Eye-opener experiences here. But like I said, it's the people. And the people have taught me, it's my motto now is having less is having more. And if anybody's ever heard me say that before, I apologize, but I'm always going to say that. I truly believe, for me, having less is having more. Michael, that was a big change of a lifestyle. Yeah. Fox Fine Life says, I'm a Kiwi from New Zealand. I have 40 million Philippine. Give me or take to start life in Philippines. James knows me well. Sula, yes, you're right. I have no connection to New Zealand anymore, so it's all going. I still have I guess, a connection to the U.S., but I don't miss it at all. It's just my family, and if there's anything that that reminds me of the United States back home, maybe there's a certain food I crave. And sometimes, other than being on YouTube, which helps, you miss conversation. Basically, people that are fluent in English, like really fluent in English, that you can have a full-fledged conversation with. But YouTube helps with that, in my opinion. Meeting you guys, questions and stuff, it allows me to talk. It allows me to show my compassion and my feelings or opinions or thoughts on things. So you guys make up for the lack of maybe conversation that I don't always get to have. So like, yeah, having good conversation, but you can find a foreigner here and you can have good conversation with. I mean, that's why I go to James and Karen's site so much, because their site to me is so genuine and real. They remind me of myself. It's like a breath of fresh air on their site. But Fox Finding Life, yeah, that's like, you're right. I'm trying to do something else. But Sula, David, you had surgery, you're okay. Yeah, he had surgery. I'm pretty sure he had to get stitched up. But yeah, Kiwi, okay at Fox. Sula says, I think the weather in Philippines would be great for anyone with joint pains and arthritis. Probably right. I don't know much about arthritis or even joint pain. I guess the only joint pain, if you want to call it pain, that I ever experienced is from all my walking. So sometimes your hips can get a little sore, but the best way to alleviate that is you literally just sit down. It's almost like you're crossing your leg, and you sit down and you put your ankle from your one leg on your other knee and you press down, and that count to 20 on both hips, and that basically alleviates that for me. But yeah, I'm not sure about all like joint pains and arthritis. I'm glad I haven't had to experience that. I thank God for that. Sula says, I think you adapted, Michael, because you're physically fit and good cardio. Well, yeah, that definitely plays a part in it. I agree, because I did a lot of cardio in the US. I go out in like the middle of the day when the sun's as strong as ever, and I'm not like, you put your cap on. I have like organic type healthy like sunscreen. It's basically zinc, or like with beef tallow. I don't use any of that other sunscreen, because everybody needs to always remember, everything you put on your skin absorbs into your skin. And you better read the ingredients on what you're putting on your body that absorbs into your skin before you just do it. That's all I'm going to recommend. Just read the ingredients. And if you don't know what something is, an ingredient, because there's a lot of, there's words I can't even pronounce. Look it up, then see what it is. And then, you might be surprised as to what that particular ingredient is. And that's absorbs into your body. And some of that stuff's not good. So natural deodorant, people that put deodorant on, what's usually the number one ingredient in deodorant? This will be my little health tip for the day. Aluminum. Aluminum's not good for your health in your body. And under your arms are your lymph nodes. Under your arms are, everything really absorbs under your arms. Look up aluminum, Google it. At least hopefully nowadays, until they want to remove the truth from the internet, and you might not find the truth, but aluminum is good to absorb into your body. That's all I'm going to say. I get it, people want to smell good, and but there's all natural options, or you just don't wear anything at all. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm big into health, not only food that I consume, but my toothpaste. I have a certain toothpaste, not Colgate, not that stuff that's like putting detergent in your mouth, and it basically kills. There's good bacteria in your mouth and there's bad bacteria. Well, everything serves a purpose. Well, if you're destroying it, it's not doing its job. Again, anybody wants to know about other stuff that I use, I'd gladly answer, but I don't want to babble, because that's a whole other subject, but I'm passionate about it. And that's, you know, all the little things I do, I think attributes to me being able to enjoy and have good health at my age. That's, I can only attribute it to that. I always say 90% exercise, 10% is diet. David says, I stopped a home invasion but got stabbed twice, but I'm doing okay. Yeah, that story, David, that's just crazy. It's just like stuff that goes on in this world, but I'm just glad you're okay. I'm glad you're still able to take your trip to the Philippines, and yeah, I'm just glad you're all right. Fox Fine Life said, wow, David, glad you're okay, brother. Something similar here I've been through. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Fox. I you know, whatever you went through, I'm glad you're okay too. And stick with your plan, stick with your goal to come to the Philippines. And hey, what's the worst thing that can happen? You take a trip here and you don't like it. That's the worst thing that can happen. Okay. You know, I've gone on trips other places in the world and I didn't particularly think it was that great either, and I just don't go back again. But at least you tried. You know, don't always go by, I don't even want you to go by the opinion of me. Just because I love it here and I'm fired up and yeah, I want to inspire other people to come to the Philippines and live life. At the same time, I want you to make the decision on your own. Because ultimately, anybody who's looking to come to the Philippines, it comes down to you. I mean, you have to follow your heart, you have to follow your gut instinct and go with what you want to do. For so long in my life, I always felt like I always lived my life at the recommendations of everybody else. And I probably did. And that's probably why I got to a point in my life where I felt like I wasn't living life for me. I felt like I was living it in the vision of what everybody else wanted me to do. And then when I came here, best decision I ever made. Because there are people that, not that we're here in the Philippines, there are family members and friends that kind of try to deter me from coming to the Philippines in a negative light. And they've never even been here. That's always the best. People that have a bad opinion about a place when they've never even been here. So I'm glad, yeah, I'm glad I did what I did. David says, I will when I get back to Northern California. David says, yes, Sula, I was in Arizona at the time. Sula says, David, you need to take care of yourself now. I went to Arizona early in the year. I heard about dry heat, but never experienced it. It's high humidity in Ireland, very unusual to be in dry heat. Lovely. Sula also says, sorry, your experience in Arizona was a bad one. Sula says, you're right, Michael, about deodorants. It's one of the worst, and companies tell people it's good for them. I buy handmade one from locally made plants. Local businesses can do with custom. You know, it's the same thing with soap. I use organic soap. It doesn't have detergent in it. Remember, everything absorbs in your body. I mean, I can remember when I was a kid playing around with a pen. And, you know, as kids, we would draw, like, make our own, like, tattoos on our arms. And I'd get in trouble by my mom. Not that she was that educated in stuff absorbing in your skin, but she knew pen ink absorbed in your skin. Well, I don't think what's in pen ink was probably good for you either. Not that I know, but I just remember, Michael, don't put that, that absorbs into your skin. Philip, how's the weather? How you doing, Philip? Actually, it's not bad here in Dumaguete. I think Dumaguete was very fortunate and blessed that we had some minor flooding last night. I'm just trying to wait under this tree to make sure the rain slows up. I can't tell yet, and then go back out there. But Philip, I think Dumaguete just was blessed and lucky that, you know, people are out on motorbikes right now. There's not a lot going on. I mean, had some little wind, but I mean, it's totally calm now compared to people like in northern Negros Occidental, where I'm in Negros Oriental. But glad you're here, Philip. If anybody's here and hasn't given me a like, please give me a like. Anybody that's interested in subscribing to my channel, key is interested. If you're interested in following me in my journey, and yeah, I'll take any subscriptions, but only if you want to subscribe. You know, so many times you get people that subscribe and then they unsubscribe. Don't do it for me, do it because you're interested. David says, I was in worse situation. I was in the Army for 26 years. I saw more combat than most. I'm sure you have. I always respect the military. People always ask me if I'm former military, and I wish I could say I was, because I think maybe if, you could do certain things different in your life, I probably would have joined the military. I have so much respect for the military. I'm kind of like I consider myself not like tough person as in fighter type tough guy like that, but I feel like I can endure all different types of climate, and I don't like to be beaten. Like, I'm kind of like, if anybody's gonna beat me at something, it's gonna be myself. If anybody can relate to that, I kind of just like to challenge myself, and I live my life to the fullest, and I know I only get one shot at this, and it's like exercising to me is use it or lose it. I mean, I can sit around all the time, but yes, and I understand there's some people that are physically, there's just certain things they can't do. I get that, but as long as I have the ability to do it, I'm going to keep going forward and use it and use it and use it until I know more. Sula says, family can worry because they might not have the guts to go across the world. It's their own insecurity. Yeah, and that was, like I said, like, I don't know why people were so, even some family members were like anti me going. I get it. There's nothing wrong with worrying about siblings or other family members when you're going across halfway around the world by yourself. I get that. But to take it to a whole other level where you're literally, I mean, here's a comment. Someone in my family said, Michael, you don't want to go to the Philippines. And I'm not saying this could happen anywhere, but they're like, Michael, you don't want to go to the Philippines because you could get kidnapped and they would remove your organs from your body and sell them on the black market, or sell them however. That's the comment that was made to me. And yeah, to deter me from coming here. If anything, it probably pushed me more to come here. But yeah, that's just one example. Sula says, that David, a miracle you're alive. Yeah, it is a miracle. It's like crazy. The people that you meet on YouTube, you become so close and friends. Like, I only know David as a YouTube subscriber, and I'm thankful for that. But you become friends with these people. And then when you hear like his story, plans to come to the Philippines, but then he's stabbed and all this stuff. I'm like, man, you pull for somebody even harder. Like that motivates me because I've never gone through that. And now David shares he's been in 26 years in the military, seen more combat than most people. I mean, that's a guy I want to be friends with. I respect the heck out of David. And then, have what happened to him. I'm pulling for him so badly to come here to the Philippines. Like, I just want that all to be a success. And when he gets here, it's almost like he can exhale. Yeah, I kind of moved out here now. The rain's kind of giving me a break. Philip says, I'm good. Sula says, hi. Philip, David says, God has bigger plans for me, Sula. Amen to that. That's kind of the way I look at it too. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to anybody, but I've mentioned it to others. Before I came to the Philippines, and you might think this is crazy, and that's fine, but I felt like God was pulling me to the Philippines. And what's even crazier or more ironic is that so many things since I've been here have pulled me closer to God, interestingly enough. And my eyes have been open to so many more things. And like I said, I've been pulled away from the whole materialistic thing. Yes, you need money for certain things. But my eyes have been open. Like, it's hard to explain, I guess, until you really get here. But I kind of had the right mindset before I came here to the Philippines, because like I said, I started getting rid of things. And then I still had stuff to get rid of when I went back to the US in March before I came back here in June. And within a week that I was back in the United States in March, I couldn't wait to come back to here. I couldn't wait. I missed this place. Right away, you pick up on the vibe of, it's just the people. like everybody always says, what's the best thing about the Philippines? It's the people. And right away, you miss the people. You miss the happiness you see in a lot of the people's faces here, and they have less. It's just mind blowing. And that's what I love about the Philippines. First and foremost is the people. So when I'm back in the United States, yes, I saw my family, my brother, and stuff like that. That's the best thing about going home. But then when I come back here, like when I was there, I missed the people here. So that should tell you everything you need to know. But yeah, God has bigger plans for you, David. Certainly, because I believe the same thing with me. Hey, Dazzle TV, good afternoon. Gino, I'm glad you're here. Appreciate it. Just hanging out in Dumaguete. The weather's fine. It's raining now. No wind. It's been fine here basically all day. Gino, I don't really think what we kind of expected here in Dumaguete didn't happen, which is great. Sula says, that's for sure, David. Much respect to you, sir. Foxfine Life says, amen, David. Sula says, hello. At Gino, you safe there? And says, yes, Sula, we're safe. Lots of rain right now. Sula says, oh, Michael, they were fear-mongered. Yeah, maybe they knew they'd miss you too. It seems very safe there, even more so than in the West. Well, speaking the truth, Sula, I think it is more safe here. Yeah, there's probably no completely safe place in the world, but I do feel more safe here. Yeah, Sula, I don't know. Like, I could only assume maybe other reasons why they didn't want me to come here. I always thought, but it's possible. Like my brother, he was completely supportive of me. Completely supportive of me. Never ever said anything negative. Because he's lived his life, like he's lived like, he left our family in Pennsylvania when he was young and was living out in California, like, so he wasn't close. And I'm the only, like, I kind of never did, I mean, I traveled, but I never did anything like this. And I don't want to be that guy someday sitting there in my end days saying, man, I wish I would have done this. Man, I wish I would have done that. I don't want to be that guy, and I won't be that guy. And guess what? I'm not going to be that guy because I did something different, and I'm so proud of myself for doing it. And yeah, I think maybe some of my family members were just jealous that I was just up and going like that, and I could do that maybe. But you know what? I have to admit, the family members that maybe tried to deter me after they saw how things turned out, they kind of swallowed their pride and kind of gave me props and gave me respect in return, saying, Michael, like, after the fact, because how well everything went here and stuff like that. So I have to admit, they kind of apologized, not apologizing, but like, kind of gave me a little credit and didn't, make me look like I made this big mistake because of how everything turned out. David says, you all have a great day or night. I have a lot of driving to do tonight. All right, David, be safe, keep in touch. And like I said, I set that up for you so you can go green. Make your name bright green. God bless you, David. We'll be thinking about you. Sula says, I'm glad you're safe. Gino, yes, I'm glad anybody's safe. I like seeing you on here because, like I said, you build this community of friends within YouTube. And like I'll always give, credit to many, many YouTube here, but a lot of you guys are from the community with James and Karen, and they're two great people. Hopefully someday soon I get to meet them. I mean, I know they're not that far from me. It's just takes you long to get to where they're at. That's the thing. You're not far in distance with people here. You're far in time. It's not like you can just hop on a highway and fly on the interstate to get somewhere. Gene, thank you. Sula. Hey, my buddy, Mr. Dave's here. Hello, sir. I'm at a coffee shop and Korean girls dressed up like princesses, and I told them they are beautiful. Hey, good for you. Hopefully they understood you. Do they know English, or can you speak Korean? Louis says, hey, Mike. Hey, Louis, thank you for stopping by. I'm just hanging out in the rain, having a conversation with my friends. And like I said, conversation is so important, especially when you're like me and you like to talk a lot. And sometimes you just need some people that can speak a lot of English. So thank you for being here. If you're not a subscriber, you want to give me a thumbs up for my channel. I appreciate anything and everything. I'm just enjoying life, enjoying the simple things, want something simple in life, and YouTube is fun and allows me to share my experiences and meet other people. And you guys are sharing your time with me. That I'll repeat that redundant every time I do a live stream, or I know I'm due for a video. I know that. But whenever you guys support me, please don't think it just goes like in one ear and out the other, or I don't see that. I'm humbled every time I'm commented. You guys are here commenting, supporting me. I'm humbled. I've never experienced anything like this. So not only has the Philippines opened my eyes to so many things, you guys have opened my eyes to so many things. Humbled through YouTube friendships. So thank you, as always, and I will always say that over and over again. I can't thank you enough. Sula says, so thank you for being here, Louie. Sula says, at David, safe journey home. Hope to see you again soon. Yeah, we'll see David. David's great. Philip says, hello, Sulu, or Sula, yeah. Philip says, Sula. Sula says, double tap the screen for a like. Thank you, Sula. Louis says, after visiting Thailand, got me into watching videos of Buddha, because there's so many Buddha temples in Thailand. Yeah, I've seen that. Hopefully someday I get to Thailand, Louis. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen. I'm in no rush. And see, that's another thing. There are so many things and places I want to go to outside the Philippines, but there's so many places in the Philippines I got to experience too. And I'm in no hurry. Like, I don't feel like I got to do this tomorrow. Like, you know, my health's good. I'm good, and exercising, doing my thing, and blessed. So, but someday, yeah, I want to get there. I still want to do, like I said, the islands, a lot of places here. I mean, heck, there's so many places in Siquijor. I've been to Siquijor several times, twice. But there's so many parts of Siquijor I haven't seen yet. So I enjoy Siquijor. It's really nice. My buddy, Mr. Day, said, I've been paying $45 for a student storage unit in America for 3 years. The price originally $20. You know what? I almost got a storage unit before I left, but thankfully I had so little amount of stuff because I felt bad. I didn't want my parents just to think I was using them just for a little closet space to keep my stuff in. So I was almost going to get, it was a dinky storage unit. Probably would have been, I don't know how much it was, 20, 25 a month. And then my dad's just like, Michael, just keep your stuff here. So I didn't have to worry about that. But I didn't want to be older and just like, oh, keep my stuff in my closet. But it's not much. A lot of the stuff in the closet, some of the things I wanted to bring here, like my snorkel, my good mask, and my flippers to do snorkeling here. I mean, yeah, I was so disappointed that I couldn't fit that. Because what ended up happening is I didn't really bring much of my stuff with me. I brought stuff for other people. That I won't be doing that when I come back. Louis says, I sometimes feel like my past life I was a Filipino because I feel so comfortable in the Philippines. Yeah, I get that. I feel that way here, Louis. I completely agree. David says, Sula, I'm always around. Yes, David, you're always around. Sula says, Dave, do you need the things? It's amazing to increase the cost. Should be less as time goes on, in my opinion. Oh, he's talking about the storage unit. I got confused. You're like Mr. Dave, and then there's David. Dave says, for some reason, poor people are friendlier than rich people. When I was in Colombia, the friendliest people were the Venezuelan refugees. Yeah, but I did meet a Philippine couple, husband and wife, retired. I was eating at Melting Pot and struck up a conversation with them for an hour, and they insisted on paying for my dinner. And after 10 minutes of going back and forth, because I'm not used to anybody paying for anything, I allowed them to do it on one condition. I said, the next time I see you, which I do have them on Facebook, and they're here in Dumaguete, and I do need to reach out to them. I told them I would treat them the next time, but It's never happened to me before in the Philippines, where somebody, after an hour-long conversation, they enjoyed the conversation so much they insisted on paying for my dinner, and that was like one of the nicest things anybody's done for me. Louis or Sula says that Louis, that's great. One knows where their heart belongs. Sula says, Dave, I feel when we have little, all we have is heart. Our kindness, our willingness to help people, our time to give to others, that is the greatest gift of all. And that's what I experience here. I experience wanting to give to others. I kind of have a little thing that I do when I feel it in my heart that somebody needs. I give some coin. Kind of a situation where I'm giving to people that aren't asking, but I can see that they need help. Because there are some people that try to take advantage of you. Like, sometimes you'll see somebody come up with a big bag of candy in their hand and they're saying they need to eat. Personally, I'd rather give someone food than give them money. Just because sometimes that money's going to somebody else, not them, and then they're buying Red Horse or cigarettes with that money. But again, if you help somebody and wherever it goes, you can't really worry about that. It's out of your hands at that point. You kind of got to just, you did your best, you helped them, and whatever happens after that, because you're, being compassionate. Sula says, let me make sure I don't skip anything. Sula says, we are just as lucky to have found you too, Michael, and to enjoy your company and the company of the community here. Hey, I'm just taking blessings. That's what it is. I've made more friends, whether not only on YouTube, but just since I've been in the Philippines, more like, I have friends back in America, but very few, and it took a very long time to establish those relationships. I feel like I have more relationships, stronger friendships here, not just with foreigners here, but local Philippine people in Dumaguete. I feel like I've met more people that made a difference in my life here in the Philippines than at any point in my life. It's kind of interesting. So like I said, again, there's so many things that the Philippines have brought into my life. But appreciate that comment, Sula. After a month in Thailand, I miss the human connection that the Philippines offers, but lots of stuff in the Philippines infuriates me, like Filipino people wasting hours of my time. In what way are they wasting your time, Mr. Dave? Hey, Simon. He says, hey, Michael, seems like the typhoon has passed where you are. Hope it's been okay. Actually, Simon, I guess I was anticipating your live stream with James and Karen. I guess something happened where that didn't go through. Honestly, since I woke up this morning and had breakfast around 7:30, 8, it was raining when I got up, a little bit of wind. But I was like expecting it to look much worse. And then it kind of then there was no rain, maybe a mist, but the wind is no wind, minor that I know of. I think there was some flooding, but that was last night after all the rain, because it's just too much rain, and the drainage systems here in the Philippines just aren't, they're just not getting it done. They're just not as good as they could be. But from where I've walked around here, it's just wet. The ocean's calm, no rough waters or anything. And it's been like this for hours. Now the rain has come and gone, gotten a little, I wouldn't say heavy, but heavier. But right now it's just like a light mist. So I think Dumaguete kind of really didn't get what my friend Gary and Leah, Leah's Philippine Family Life with Leah, and then you got Gary, Always Be Prepared, from American Christian in the Philippines. They're up in Bacolod, where I used to live. They're getting hammered. Now, I don't know what it currently is now, but they've got trees going down. They got to keep the kids away from the windows because of the high winds. It's like night and day here in Dumaguete compared to where they are in Negros Occidental in Bacolod. So I guess I'm thankful. I feel bad for them, but I'm thankful that I'm here in Dumaguete and nothing really major here today. But thanks for being here, Simon. You're always a great supporter. And I hope everything's okay with you too. Sula says, Dave, it's probably more laid back way of life, wasting your time in what way? That's what I was wondering too. Gino says, hi, Simon. Sula says, Simon, how are you? Simon says, hi, Sula. Gino, all good, thanks. That's great to hear. More people that show up, especially with the familiar community, the better I feel that I'm seeing everybody. But like I said, I was a little worried, Simon, when you didn't do your live with James and Karen, but then James and Karen went live, so I was like, maybe you had some technical difficulties or something. I didn't get my data; it wasn't working until right before I started this live, so I kind of jumped on it. Do you arrive there with a suitcase or a backpack? That's a very good question. When I came in July of 2024, I arrived with a very small carry-on suitcase and a backpack. When I went back to US in March of 2025, I bought like a real dinky, small backpack. A couple pairs of underwear, a pair of shorts, 2 t-shirts, toothbrush, whatever. Went from Dumaguete, Cebu, spent the night in Cebu, got up the next morning, flew back home. That's it. When I came back here, I brought a huge backpack and a smaller backpack, and that's it. When I travel from here on out, my recommendation to anybody is you don't need to bring a suitcase. If you have some sort of, I guess, you need to bring certain things that require you to bring a suitcase, then do it. Other than that, honestly, if you're getting rid of so many things back home and you're coming here and you plan on, even if you're going to be here for a couple months, it's probably more convenient and cheaper for you to just come here, go to like here in Dumaguete, you can get t-shirts for 200 pesos. Nice t-shirts. Like this t-shirt here, right here that I'm wearing. Got this at one of the sorry shops, secondhand things. I paid 40 pesos for this t-shirt. 40. And it's cool. It's like one of my favorite t-shirts, 40 pesos. So what I've learned is, other than maybe certain things that you know you can't get here, but a lot of stuff you can get on Amazon, I'd say the most important things I brought here are my sneakers. Very difficult to find Brooks running shoes here, but I heard you can get them at Cebu. So worst case scenario, I take a trip to Cebu, not now, they're flooding, but I can get my Brooks running shoes in Cebu. So what I'm getting at is, you can literally come here probably with just a backpack. And you need underwear, buy it here. You need anything, you can buy here. I'm not a fan of checking in luggage because I've had experiences in the US just flying from Pennsylvania to Florida years ago. But all my luggage went to freaking Canada or New Hampshire, right up near Canada. So for like 2 days, I didn't even have my luggage. And it was so dumb. I was thinking, oh, the best way to, check in your luggage and then don't have anything up top. You know what? Bring a backpack, small one. Heck, if it's that small and you don't have anything in it, you can literally put it under your seat, under your legs, or just get something small enough to fit up top. But as long as you have like a backpack, because sometimes, even though if you have carry-on, when the flight attendants are checking you in, and I'm sure other people have experienced, they're looking for volunteers for people to give your bags. And if they don't get volunteers because they're worried that they're going to overflow the upper compartments, they want to be ahead of the game. That way, if they run into trouble, they're not transporting stuff from up top down below. So they're rather everybody. I'm just like, when I get to them, I'm like, hey, there's a reason why I bring carry-on, because I don't want it to be checked in. So the one time I kind of did play a little trick because I saw a guy do it in front of me. She's like, and it was a carry-on bag, and she's like, sir, we're gonna have to check this in down below. We'll put the tag on it, and when you get to the end of the ramp before you get on the plane, just sit your thing there. Well, I saw the guy in front of me, he ripped the tag off and just carried his luggage on the plane. I'm like, you know what, I'm doing the same thing. When I got in there, there was plenty of room up top. They never had issues. They were just, and I understand, they were just trying to stay ahead of it to avoid, it would be more work to remove people's luggage from up top and then transport it down below. But travel light, you can buy anything you need here and it's cheaper. Simon, that Sula says that's good. Dave said, I use my biological Pakistani father's house as my storage unit. I didn't know him too well. He ended up getting offended that I was using him, but I was too poor to drive and visit him often. That's funny. Well, that's why I kind of felt like I was like telling my parents, hey, I'm gonna get a storage unit. I won't need to keep my stuff in your house. But then my dad kind of just said, hey, you don't need to do that. You can just keep it in the closet. And like I said, I have very, very little stuff. Uh, Sula says, all good here too, Simon. I was worried about all the people in the Philippines. Sula says, that Dave, that was a bit difficult. You live far away from him. Yeah. Dave says, a rich Filipina didn't want carefree Chris's girlfriend to be at the dinner with her because she was poor. So you know how cool rich Filipinos are. If they accept poor Filipino dinner, most don't. And he says, when I was in Dumaguete, I tried to sell a lot of stuff on Facebook Marketplace, but I got trolled so much by Filipinos. They wasted so much of my time, and I went nuts and left the Philippines. Yeah, I've not experienced selling stuff here on Facebook, and I don't plan on. I want to have minimal stuff here. I don't want that problem. If I need to move, I have a couple backpacks. Now, I still have my little suitcase here with stuff in it, but for traveling, I'll never use it. And if I need a shirt, like I said, you can find nice stuff very cheap. You just have to look around. Simon said, yeah, James had power issues. He managed to send me a WhatsApp eventually. Okay, I figured there was something going on, but yeah, he did mention, I guess, once they were, obviously he has the Starlink, which I recommend that for anybody. If you can get Starlink, if you can afford it, do it. It's gonna be something I probably end up doing. I like the idea of the Starlink Mini. I understand you have to carry that little, it almost looks like a flat plate like satellite thing. I might just sometimes, if I'm gonna live stream when I'm out and about, I'll just wear my little backpack and keep it in there. That would be okay, I think. But Starlink's definitely, it's the way to go. And I would like to think that once Starlink becomes more of a common thing, I would anticipate the prices would go down, once more people have it. Sula says, Michael, out of curiosity, did you get much sleep last night? You think walking helps? Oh, I sleep better now for the last how many years than I ever have. And quite honestly, I probably sleep better now in the Philippines, even better than what I was in the US, which was pretty good. But yeah, the walking, anything you do, it's gonna make you tired. And when I go to sleep, I like to go to sleep. I don't stay up very late, and it's not, people joke and say, oh, that's an old person thing, you're going to bed early. It's not that. I like to get up at 5:30, 6 in the morning. I like to see the sunrise here in the Philippines. I like to sleep when it's dark and be out and about when I'm awake, or when it's daylight. I like to be out and about. That's just, I'm in the Philippines, man. I don't want to stay up all night and then sleep in late and then get up and it's like dark. Like I like to be out and about, but that's just me, to each his own. But that's what I like to do. But yeah, I think it helps with sleep. Heck, even if you're swimming laps in a pool, makes you tired. Gino says, I was waiting on the live stream with James, also Simon. Yeah, I think we all were. We're all anticipating that big interview with the CEO. I was looking forward to that. And then Simon says, yeah, I was looking forward to it. Cherry even did her hair especially. Damn. So do you know, Simon, when you might be doing this, doing it again, like you guys set up another day? CEO, that's Simon. Oh, Sula says to Simon, that's nice. Always a good time to do the hair. Sula says, Gino, you charged your phones before the electric went out. I did that. Plus I have my power banks too. I always use them. Dave says, I love the Philippines, but I'm choosing from now on to live in other countries and visit the Philippine Islands when I'm ready. I think small islands are the strong suit of the Philippines. Yeah, that's what I always say. I don't care where my home base is in the Philippines for now. It can always change. And that's the whole idea of renting in the apartment. Renting an apartment. Now, James and Karen situation, yeah, they built a house, they got a home base, and that works too. They still travel, they're still going to do things. But for me right now, I have no idea or any intentions of building anything right now. But if and when the time comes, then that'll be great. Look into it then. Wait a minute. I don't want to skip ahead. Oh, Gino says, Sula, we have a Dumaguete power station. I don't know much about Dumaguete power station. Simon says, wish I had hair to make nice. That's great. I hope you didn't put a lot of time in getting your hair ready, Simon. I mean, you were all ready and you're going to have to do your hair all over again. I'm just kidding. But that is funny what you said. Sula says, I wonder what 40 pesos is in dollars. Cool t-shirt. I mean, I don't even know. I don't think it's much. I always just use the rule of thumb. 300 pesos is like $5 or more, fluctuates here and there. But yeah, when you think 40 pesos, I don't even think that's a dollar. Oh, there you go. Gino answered the question. 40 pesos, about 75 cents. So yeah, 75 cents for this cool, sparkly, glittery, I think it's it says something of China on it, but I don't even, and you know what's funny? Not all the shirts in a sorry shop or whatever, secondhand shop, some of them haven't even been used. They're just ones that were never sold. You see a lot of shirts, like, let's say they're having a marathon somewhere and they pre-print all these shirts and they don't all get used. You see ones like that. I like finding ones that are just very different, un-American, maybe with some Japanese or Chinese writing on it. That's the ones I kind of like if I can find them. And I just thought this was so, I don't know if I ever see another person wearing this shirt. And for 40 pesos, it's pretty good. Dave said you can pay $129 a month for IRL toolkit software. Use that with Moplin app and have a second SIM card and a second phone. That'll be a very stable connection. That's how professional live streamers do it. Yeah, see, I'm learning. Even Fox mentioned to me earlier, I need to get a second phone. So when I'm ready to get this one, I have an iPhone 15. It's been paid for. So I could just get I could even just get an Oppo phone. That's what I got for Che, and they're not very expensive at all. I just don't like the quality of the video, but who knows? Or I just get another iPhone at some point. I've also thought about getting an iPad with the portable keyboard, if everyone uses that, just for editing purposes, the new iPad Air. That's in my mind too. But first thing first, I would say is between the Starlink Mini, as far as investing in stuff for YouTube, the Starlink Mini and would be 1A, and like a secondary phone's probably 1B. Manila's here. Hello, Manila. Welcome. How are things in your part of the islands? I would say Dumaguete's, what they thought might be, was kind of like a nothing burger, as James would call it. We're fortunate and lucky here in Dumaguete. We didn't get much rain, no wind whatsoever, and I'm out here standing in it. Sula says, Gino, very handy to have the power station. All right. Gino says, power station, a must have in the Philippines, in my opinion. Sula says, that's Simon, haha, the pros and cons of having a head of hair, less maintenance, so you're lucky too. That's true. That's very true, Sula. You're preaching facts. Sometimes less is more, you know? Not only with materialistic things, it can be hair too. Simon can be ready just like that. And although their live stream collaboration didn't go through, he can be ready just like that for the next one. It's his wife that put a lot of work into her hair, and she's gonna have to do it again. But we'll just consider the first one. That's just a little practice run. So maybe, I don't know, usually when you do something second time around, maybe you get a little quicker. Sula says, wow, 75 cents, that's amazing. You aren't kidding. 75 cents for sure. Simon says, thankfully, and it's funny when I keep saying Simon says, I feel like I'm playing that game. Simon says, touch your head. Simon says, jump 2 times. Makes me laugh. Uh, the things I humor myself with. Simon says, thankfully, we are 100% solar, so we never suffer from any blackouts. Even today, when it's rainy, cloudy, the system gives us power all day and night. We've not had one electricity bill in almost 2 years. So what you're telling me is, I guess you have like storage, whatever you get from your solar, you can store it like, like batteries or something like that. I don't know a lot about the whole solar thing. I've seen little bits and pieces and heard some of James and Karen, and another guy on another channel was mentioning about the solar, and I guess he can store the energy and then has a lot for a while in situations like this where it's cloudy and there's no sun. Sula says, hi, Manila, welcome. Sula says, Simon, does it pay its way back? How many solar panels do you have? Hey, Det Valones. Hi, Michael, stay safe. Hey, Det, thank you for being here. Everything's good, at least here in Dumaguete. I know my friends, Gary and Leah up in Bacolod, were dealing with a lot more than me, a lot rougher winds, trees falling over, staying away from windows. But yeah. Sula says, Michael, are you soaked in that rain or under shelter? I'm not under any shelter right now. Actually, my shirt's not bad. I think because it's like maybe a light mist, if that, right now. And I think it's just drying pretty quick. It's damp here in my shoulders. Other than that, a little rain's not going to hurt you. And I'm in the Philippines. Rain, that doesn't hurt me. I mean, if I can deal with the hot heat and the hot sun here, I can deal with a little rain. And it's refreshing too. It actually feels good. That's Sula says the death thumbs up, smiley face. So I'm 18 panels with 16 kilowatt inverter and 3 by 10.24 watts, 200. I don't know what AH is. 51.2 volt lithium batteries. Damn, that was almost like a tongue twister for me. I have a lot to learn. So Simon, I might be leaning on you someday when it comes to solar technology and stuff like that. The return on investment will be 5 years. That's the important thing, return on investment. I know what ROI stands for. I learned that in the Philippines. Dave says the secondary phone for cellular bonding using Moblin app can be just about any cheap phone, Apple or Android. All right. Sula, hair day today, gone tomorrow. Simon says, Sula laughing. Sula says, that's Simon, that's great. Simon says, Filipinos don't like being out in the rain. Well, I'd like to think I'm somewhat a Filipino at this point. I did dip my bread in coffee, so they said that was kind of like a true transformation from foreigner, expat to Filipino. So yeah, I did dunk the bread. But you're right. I've seen some Filipino out here walking. Actually, the vendors, I don't know if you can see way down there, the vendors are starting to set up. There's a Filipino over there fishing off the corner there. I think he's just using some sort of rope or line. There's a couple of them fishing down there. I try not to walk around too much because I don't want it to lag. And I know some people say, well, I walk too fast, but that is true. But very calm here. That's the port over there. You can hop on the fast boat and go to Sikihor, which you can't see it. It's normally you can, but you can't. You can see Cebu over there. Yeah, it's not bad at all here. People are starting to kind of come out, and like I said, my go-to coffee shop was closed, so I had to go to Starbucks across the street. Yeah, I guess I'm not complete Filipino, or maybe I'm just a tough Filipino. If they don't like rain, and I'm American Filipino, I guess. Sula says, here, ROI means Republic of Ireland. Yeah, that's true. I didn't know that. I like, people had mentioned ROI before, and I never knew what that meant. But it's more commonly used here in the Philippines, because a lot of people, again, are getting solar things and everything to be energy efficient and stuff here in the Philippines. So I learned what ROI meant. Looks like Ireland, except we don't have any palm trees. Yeah, I've never been to Ireland. I always wanted to go to Ireland, but I guess it's like you're saying, like foggy in Ireland sometimes, and that's kind of what it's like. Yeah, normally you see Sikihor plain as day. Simon says, think I may have said Sula, my grandparents are from Ireland. I was born there but moved to England when I was a newborn. Well, that's wild. I love the scenery in Ireland. Yeah, I've always wanted to go there. Never happened. I don't know if that's going to be happening anytime soon. I guess, I mean, I can definitely say I'm happy I'm here in the Philippines and not completely disappointed. Yes, here's another foreigner coming behind me walking. So yeah, they're out. Sula says, oh wow, that's lovely. Simon, Jason says, coming by to support. Jason, I appreciate you. And that's another thing I wanted to ask you, Jason. Do you have a channel? I see you all the time on Karen and James' channel, and I was just wondering if you have a channel, and if you do, I will gladly support you, your channel. Here's another thing I was reading the other day, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. Well, I was always wondering why, and it's a YouTube thing, but it seems like sometimes I would get a lot of subscribers, and then the subscribers would drop like the next day or a day or two after, like a lot. And then they'd go back up, and then they'd drop down again. Well, I was searching online, and there was something that said YouTube monitors when people are subbing for a sub. So in other words, I subscribe to you, you subscribe to me to help build each other's channels. And they made it sound like, YouTube algorithm, something's monitoring that. So it made me think maybe that was part of the problem. Maybe when you think it's a bunch of trolls subscribing to your channel and then unsubscribing just to troll you, maybe it's actually the YouTube algorithm kind of sees, you know, basically can look at your channel, who subscribes to you, who are you subscribing to. If it's like a lot of back and forth, maybe that's the problem. But that's at least what it said, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard that before. Sula says, we can get 4 seasons in 1 hour here. Big being an island. That's funny. 4 seasons in 1 island. I'm very happy with 1 season. Well, I guess I like to think it's summer all the time, but obviously you have rain season here. But last year when I was here at this time, it didn't rain much at all. We had like a little typhoon, and lasted a little bit in October, and then it was sunny all the time in Dumaguete. Sula says, hi, Jason. Gino says, hi, Jason. So I love all these people when you guys say hi to each other. I think that's great. Jason says, no channel, just come on whenever I wake up. I don't sleep well. Why don't you sleep well, Jason? What's going on? Why are you having trouble sleeping? And I guess, I don't even know exactly where you live, and if you've said it before and I missed that, I apologize. Where are you living, and I guess what time is it? Jason saying, hi guys. Sula says, you and me both, Jason, are you in the US? All right, there you go. Oh, you're in Florida. See, I live there, and I always tell people, if I wasn't living in the Philippines, I'd be back living in Florida. I lived there for 2 years. I lived in Stuart, Florida. I lived in Palm City, Florida. Those are basically the 2 areas I lived at, close to each other on the, obviously, East Coast. I'm sure you're familiar, Jason. Gino says, I haven't heard that Michaelbot subscriber drop off. Yeah, and actually, how I did more research, and I just asked Grok. I explained the situation, and Grok explained back to me that YouTube has their own AI algorithm. And when they see people doing a sub for a sub, and it's like very obvious, they can detect something. You can look it up yourself, and maybe you'll get a different result. But I kind of even questioned Grok. I said, "So you're telling me that because I guess YouTube considers it cheating? I don't know." And that's why I thought it was interesting. It almost felt like I was being toyed with. I'd get to this milestone and go down. And that kind of happened when I got my first 1,000 subscribers. I was so excited for the 1,000 subscribers, which was my fault. And then I was like at 1,001, and the next day I was down to 989. And I've noticed it before I ever reached 1,000 too. But I was just wondering, what is going on here? It just seems like a lot to drop off. And I was always just under the assumption it was trolls, subscribe and unsubscribe and just to troll you. But yeah, I thought that was interesting too, Gino. Wait. Jason says, I've been having a bunch of surgeries from the VA. Oh, I'm sorry. Jason, I had no idea. I hope everything's well and you're going to be okay. And I'm sorry you're not sleeping well, but I appreciate you being here in my live stream, giving your time to support my channel. So thank you a lot. Oh, lovely, Jason. I was just asking Michael about his sleep. I think we need to do more walking. I can definitely say it helps me, for sure. Even if it's swimming, just any type of exercise helps. It definitely helps a lot, I think. And eating right too. And I've only had one coffee today. It's a double espresso, so obviously it's stronger. But you even got to watch caffeine. You want to cut yourself off at a certain time. I have learned and seen through research that now some people, like I said, they may be a freak of nature, and caffeine, they can sleep, it doesn't bother them. But for a lot of people, when you drink coffee and a decent amount of caffeine, they say it takes almost 8 hours to get out of your system. So I usually say, all right, I'm not taking any coffee like after 1 o'clock. And especially like when I drink a latte, it's a double espresso, so that caffeine's pretty high. Jason says, I live in Port St. Lucie, small world. Yeah, I was close to that. Yeah, like I said, I was in Stewart for a while and then Pump City, basically. I loved it. I love Florida. Don't get me wrong. But if I was still living in Florida, I'd still be working. So coming here allowed me to retire and be comfortable and be okay and be financially all right. So that's another reason to come to the Philippines. But yeah, unless I got lucky and won the lotto or got some sort of inheritance, I'd still be working in the U.S. Sula says, oh no, Jason, okay, that's a different story. You might be in pain. Yeah, I didn't know you were dealing with that either, Jason. So, I'm always here for you. A lot of people are here for you, and I'm glad, like I said, you keep my channel, my stream going. My data hasn't run out yet. I only get a limited amount per day, but I think I'll be all right because I'm just doing this live. Usually my data gets sucked dry for the day if I'm watching live streams a lot, using my data, then going to do a live stream. That's why I try to watch lives or do lives in my coffee shop, my normal one, but they're closed today. Their Wi-Fi is really good in there. Like Starbucks Wi-Fi is terrible. It didn't even really work in there. It was slow. Det Valone says, you'll get used to the weather there. The Philippines is a typhoon-prone country with approximately 20 tropical cyclones entering its area of responsibility per year. Yeah, and to me, you're right, Det. I don't care. Yes, I prefer sunshine over rain, but I prefer rain over snow. Freezing rain, cold weather, like rain in the 70s, high 70s here, low 80s. It feels refreshing right now. I feel great. So yeah, nothing's ever perfect. This is perfect for me. I can handle this. The earthquake situation, I'm not so thrilled with. Even my Filipino girlfriend says she doesn't remember. She has to go back to when she was very young, as far as a time where there's been so many consistent. Now, since we've been here in Duma for a few weeks, we had one little 5.0 that hit somewhere near here, shook the bed in the apartment for like 30 seconds, and that's it. And that's all I ever experienced previously when I was in Dumaguete. It's when I moved to Bacolod that I experienced, like, the big one that hit Cebu, shook Bacolod like a 6.9 or something like that, in a high-rise apartment, shaking back and forth. Yeah, that was scary. Although I was surprised I kept my cool. Che was very panicky and worried. And like my focus completely went off myself, and it was more about calming her down, and just took her hands and relaxed her, and I forgot about myself. Like that initial second panic kind of escaped me, because I was laying in bed when that happened, and she was out in the other room on the couch. So when that started happening, I went and grabbed her, like tried to walk her like all over the place. And then I just sat her down on the bed with me and held her hands. I said, we just gotta, we don't want to take the steps. We didn't want to do anything at that point. It was shaking too much. You could fall and get hurt. So we just kind of rode it out. I just looked at her in the eye, and my job was to calm her, and I forgot about me. So it was kind of like a learning experience, and I was glad I handled the situation as best as I could. Jason says, yes, pain, and I also work nights my entire life. Hey, Jason, you're in my thoughts, my man, and I'm just glad you're here, and I hope you get to the Philippines. You might have mentioned it, and I apologize. I get so confused sometimes with where they plan on going or coming here or whatever, but Sula says that some people buy subs from both farms and they are not legit, and so YouTube won't pay. That's my understanding. I've often been unsubbed and have to resub. They'll see who's legit eventually. Yeah, so in other words, if you're doing a sub for a sub, yeah, this is kind of what was explained to me by Grok. If you're doing a sub for a sub, if they see maybe the person that subbed to you isn't really watching content, or vice versa, maybe you're not watching their content, yeah, they might, I guess, unsub you because of that. So, they're not stupid. They're watching the game being played. Sula says, not easy at Jason. That can take its toll when your body gets confused day and night trying to rest. Yeah. Get well soon. Sula says, my partner wants to come and retire in Ireland eventually. That's good. I'm glad your partner wants to come and be with you. That's the most important thing. Ray and Phil, holy hell. Ray, where the hell have you been? You sleeping? I'm just kidding. I'm sure you were probably with your friends that came to visit. Gino says hi, Ray. Ray says hi, Gino. Jason says, I'm about to have a knee replacement. Holy crap. Then I'll be closer to coming to the Philippines. I've been to a bunch of countries when I was in the Navy. So you're another military guy. See, that's awesome. I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were in the live, but I have so much respect for people in the military. I like it. People always ask me, Michael, were you ex-military? I'm like, no, but if I could go back in time, maybe that's something I might have done. Like I would have joined the military. Now, what branch? I don't know. But I think I would have fit well in the military. At least in my opinion, I think I would have fit well. I'm very determined, gung-ho, kind of a fighter type. Not fighting, but like I don't like to lose. When I'm challenged, I respond very well. I'm very determined individual. Like I'm not a wussy by any stretch of the imagination. Uh, yeah, I always fight through the elements. Nothing bothers me. I'm not saying that's a prerequisite for the military, Jason, but yeah, I think that's cool. Navy guys, especially those SEALs, man, holy cow. Anybody in the Navy, but yeah, much respect to you. Sula says, this might be a silly question, but is there ever snow in Florida or the Philippines? You know what? I think they have gotten snow in northern Florida before. I might not be right on that. Jason might be able to touch on that. But if I can remember correctly, in the winter time season, if a cold front pushes that far, maybe not, maybe it was so far in North Florida, but I'm sure they got, I remember seeing stuff on TV or the news that somewhere that never experienced snow actually got snow because the cold front pushed down that far. But maybe Jason can fill us in on that. Ray says not in the Philippines. Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened. Jason says hi, Ray. Ray says hi, Det. Gino says hope all goes well with the knee replacement, Jason. Yeah, my father for years considered getting a knee replacement, but my brother-in-law is an orthopedic surgeon, so he does bone surgery. He's a bone surgeon. He actually ended up recommending my father not to get the knee surgery. Now he's always had, I don't know, right knee issues. I'm sure he was in his 60s or above. I think age might have had something to do with why he convinced my father not to get the knee replacement at his age. He advised more into just doing rehab exercises and whatnot. I'm gonna walk over this way because the rain decided to pick up. He recommended rehab exercises for his knees and actually using castor oil. Do some research on it, Jason. I don't want to babble about what you can get from castor oil, but I've seen people rub castor oil on their knees, and I've met people here in the Philippines. There's actually a marathon runner who's a 65 and older marathon runner who had a foreign friend here who had knee issues. He brought some castor oil, told him to use it for the next couple days, and his knee instantly felt better within a few days. Now, I don't know what his issue was, but he was older. He had serious issues walking, and when he used the castor oil, it helped. So I've never used it, but I've heard many health beneficial things to it. I've heard benefits, externally, put it on externally. Det says snow in the Philippines. Yes, please. Ray says, hey, Jason Potter, hope your knee gets right. Yeah. Ray says, out here with the bakers going to look at another continent. That's what I figured you were doing, Ray. I was like, you got to entertain your friends. I'm going to go under this tree again. The rain's picking up again. Jason says, last year was the first time since 1976 Florida had snow, but mostly up near or the very north. Yeah, that's what I've heard in the past. That happened, but in very northern Florida,